Good morning.
Actually, I don't know why I'm laughing here. I'm looking at, because of Liz Truss, the number of families who've lost their home shot up by a quarter as a result of her mini budget and the soaring mortgage interest rates that followed it. So I presume you wouldn't be one to trust Truss.
I'm afraid not, and I think the lack of responsibility that's been taken by Liz Truss for the harm, frankly, that was impacted on people in our country is absolutely astonishing. You know, as you said, we've seen now those figures showing that actually repossessions shot up by over a quarter, 26%, following that mini budget. Of course, that's just a figure, but for those families, that meant losing the home that they believed was going to be theirs for many, many years, for decades. It meant that they ultimately have suffered from that awful, awful financial impact. And it wasn't a natural financial impact. It was one created by politics, created by Liz Truss and the Conservative Party.
Interesting, because, I mean, Liz Truss says that essentially all she was trying to do was carry out a lot of the things that, say, Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt would also try and do, but she just was blocked, obfuscated by the blob, Whitehall, the OBR, and that actually politicians no longer have any power. And she thinks that's quite alarming. She talks about the deep state being the one that actually led to her disastrous mini-budget, not her policies in and of themselves.
Well, I think that's bizarre conspiracy theory, to be completely honest. I think just about any economist or business person that you speak with would have a very different view. I would agree, however, that Rishi Sunak certainly hasn't learned the lessons of that Liz Truss period, because of course he's put forward a huge unfunded tax cut, £46 billion, not said how he would pay for that or whether he'd be putting up taxes elsewhere to pay for it or slashing public services. So certainly the Conservative Party's got to do a lot more to learn from the impact, the awful impact of that Liz Truss period, particularly on family finances.
Your plan is to get Britain building again. 1.5 million homes over the next few years, if you can do that. Excuse me, sorry. Apparently it's impossible to sneeze on air because you're so nervous. The adrenaline
We're way too
kicks
relaxed,
in.
aren't we?
So we're way too relaxed here. Sorry, Anneliese. Really, we're talking about affordable housing for the next generation. We look at these awful interest rates, the amount of people losing their homes, and we're saying, what can you do about that?
Well, we believe that we can get Britain building again. We set out those plans to do that. We need to have planning reform, first of all. We set out how we would deliver those changes, once in a generation changes to our planning system, so that we can get building the homes that we desperately need, genuinely affordable homes and social homes above all. We've also set out how we would be delivering new towns as well, to be delivering those homes, how we would get the skills needed to deliver them with Skills England and the plans that Bridget Phillipson has been setting out in that area. We don't think we have to accept, as a country, being held back in the way that we have been over the last 14 years. We think we can be far more ambitious, actually, for our people to grow our economy, put it on that much more secure footing, and, as I said, to get Britain building again.
I just want to ask you about Angela Rayner. I see she's out and about with Rachel Reeves today, talking about all of this family finances and repossession. And I just have to ask you, because it remains in the headlines, doesn't it, her own personal situation. And we know the police are investigating what went on with her second home, whether she avoided paying tax. She said she'll step down if she's committed any crime. But what if she hasn't actually broken the law, but she has lied? Her own aide has claimed that she has lied. And this is somebody that called for an integrity and ethics commission in public life. That won't work. I'm saying if it's found that she's lied. I'm just asking Anneliese Dodds.
Well, I've got full confidence in Angela Rayner. I know that she will welcome the opportunity, actually, to set out all the detail on this. And of course, as you mentioned, there is a police investigation into this, and she's going to be setting out all of that detail. But, you know, I have to say, there will be lots of people watching this who will understand that families actually are created in many different ways. Families sometimes break up, families sometimes get together. That's what's happened with Angela Rayner. It's what's happened with many people, I'm sure, watching this. And frankly, I just think the Conservatives here are trying to adopt a kind of plague on both your houses politics, when most people are not that interested in how much time
there's a principle that I'm asking you about.
Husband 10 years ago, you know?
No, but there's a principle I'm asking about. I'm not necessarily even talking about the specifics. I'm saying if a crime hasn't been committed, but she has lied, somebody who stands to be Deputy Prime Minister in potentially the near future, you know, somebody who's called for an Integrity and Ethics Commissioner and whose own aide, former aide, has alleged that she lied, should that be grounds to stand down?
What way has she lied? I'm just interested.
I'm not saying she hasn't.
But you said a former aide has said she lied.
Her former has said she's lied. Yeah.
But what has she lied over?
This housing issue, Eamon. I'm asking the Minister, not you, with respect.
Sorry, I'm just trying to clear this up for the viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
What is the crime she's supposed to have committed?
Her former aide has contested her version of events, which is what she's presenting to the public this morning, which is that she hasn't broken any laws or indeed avoided paying the tax that was due. Now, my question is, if police find that she hasn't broken the law, fine. But should she stand down if she is found to have lied?
Look, I believe that Angela Rayner is someone who will always do the right thing. And I know her really well. I've known her for many, many years. And as I said before, the point I was trying to get across was that, you know, of course there is now this focus on Angela Rayner's private life. And as I mentioned before, she's been in a situation where a family's broken up, a family has reformed. That's the reality of modern Britain. There'll be many people watching this programme, and that's how their family has been created. And I just don't think that exactly how much time Angela Rayner spent with her husband 10 years ago really is something that many people are interested in right now. You know, they're worried about the cost of living, whether their money's going to stretch to the end of the month, whether they're going to be able to get a GP appointment. This really is, I think, a distraction that's coming from the Conservatives because they don't want to be talking about those other big issues because they haven't got any plans to deal with them, but Labour has.
Anneliese Dodds, thanks for your time this morning. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.